things that keeps people from being spontaneous is the fear of making a mistake. What if the choice I choose to make is the wrong choice? What if I dive in and make a fool of myself, or fall on my face, or so it brings up the question of risk, and how can risk not feel like risk, right? How can risk feel like a spontaneous act instead of an, oh my God, I'm jumping off the cliff, right? And how is that related to our, how can we make making mistakes feel okay, right? Because Moshe says that mistakes are one of the best ways to learn, but for some reason, we're so afraid of the pain of a mistake. And I think that both Uri and Madeline addressed the idea of making mistakes a lot in their talk. But how do you both feel about the relationship between finding spontaneity and a willingness to make mistakes?
To me, it's very important that the teacher or the director creates an atmosphere in which it's fine to make mistakes. In the way that in a Feldenkrais lesson, there is no such thing as a mistake, it's all exploration. And I suffered from a teacher early on who made it very dangerous to make mistakes. Very dangerous. And I don't know how much to say about this, because there may be people who really like it. But anyway, it's a legacy of teaching that has continued, and it has very good sides to it, and it has some very difficult sides to it. I think you, Lavinia, you worked with Grotowski, didn't you, at a certain point? Did he not create the via negativa?
Yes, but yes, you were talking about him. What I was thinking about with Grotowski was that he would yell at us to not be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah. Okay, so my teacher was a bit like that too.
You know, that fear.
Show yourself.
Right. He would say, you're like a stallion, just leap, you know, and you could feel the terror in the room. And so I don't know that it was a great thing, but say more about what you were thinking about the via negativa.
Well, just that it should. I really understand that the idea of not telling someone what's right, you know, not when someone comes up to do an exercise, stands up in front of you to do an exercise, you don't say, what you want them to do. You tell them what you don't want, in a way. You say, no, it's not that, but you don't tell them what it is. So they have to discover it. But in this situation, it created an intense situation of terror, because you'd get up and try and do something, you'd be told to sit down straight away. And for some people were fine with that. And for some of us, it really became, over time, very, very difficult. And in contrast to that, I worked with a woman called Rose English, who's an English performance artist. I haven't seen her for years, but I know she's still out there. And I did a workshop with her. She was a wonderful person. And she created this atmosphere in which you could do anything, just anything. And you had to come on stage. It was a week-long workshop. You come on stage and you had 30 seconds up there and you could do nothing. You could hide in a corner. You could lie on the floor. You could do whatever you liked and no one would tell you were wrong. And to begin with, we were all quite rubbish. And one girl just did take the opportunity to hide in the corner and did that for a long time through the whole week. And by the end, people were doing extraordinary things because she just created an atmosphere where it was all okay. I mean, she obviously did other stuff too, because otherwise maybe we would have never got anywhere. But it was so enabling. And I think, Feldenkrais lessons at their best are very enabling in that way, and that there's no risk of being wrong and made a fool of, and you don't have to, oh my God, I can't stretch my legs as much as that lady next to me, or any of that. You don't have to make a bad choice. It's an interesting choice and something you can learn from. And when rehearsal situations and learning situations can go like that, then the anxiety of learning or the risk in experimenting, it just becomes much easier. It's more, to me, those were very stark examples of, right now, I really don't want to stand up, and nor does anybody else. And hey, I'm up,
Trish,
like that.
examples that you think?
Working with any kind of performers, the ability to, as a director, for example, is to give permission to make those mistakes has yielded so much richness. And conversely, we've all had histories of piano teachers and voice teachers and acting teachers or directors who do make us feel incredibly constrained. But I think the tendency now with most teachers of singing and drama teachers are, as you say, your Rose English. I think I know that name, actually.
Yeah, she's amazing.
To really create the conditions where anything is permissible within that space. And then at the same time, I find that rigor and the ability, that martial artsy ability of a director to really take charge in a kind way of the room where, that preparatory work has been done of giving permission and try it this way and do it badly. And then to be able to really harness all of that good into a direction where the actors still feel safe, but they know that there's someone who's in charge, who makes the decisions that are the good decisions for the production. And that's a real skill. And I think it's a kind of a martial artsy kind of a skill. There's, that director who's really present and knows exactly and is listening. And another thing that I've discovered in working with actors is that in the course of any rehearsal process, that if a director can just lay their hands in some way, make a physical contact with the actor that says in some way, you're okay, I'm here, you're okay, can transform them in that moment where we all have these, as actors, all have these moments of anxiety. We live in anxiety. But just that one hand on the shoulder or that one just gentle touch really turns it into a good rehearsal.